Well, I'm super late today, aren't I? Sorry. So this is Content and Cocktails. Normally, this happens at 7 o'clock on a Thursday evening, but it's not happened at 7 o'clock today. It's not even happened at 8 o'clock, which is pretty bad. It's 6 minutes past 8. That's not the Content and Cocktails time, so I'm sorry. It's been a very busy day. I've sort of just stepped through the door, actually, after a long old day today. So I thought I'm not gonna miss doing Content and Cocktails. I will come and do it, even if people are thinking, "What's going on? Why is Tom here? Why is he live now?" I am woefully unprepared for this live, but we're going to talk about some of the things that, so consistency for me is really important, and I know there's a certain irony about talking about consistency when I've basically turned up late to my own show, but I almost didn't do this evening. I got back in and thought, I'm not sure I can face it. But even though I was running late, I still wanted to come and do it after a little bit of consideration. So we're gonna spend a bit of time talking about that idea, and I'm gonna give you some practical ways that you can get consistent and become, I guess, more successful with being consistent with your content. So this normally is the point where I sit and mix a cocktail, but because I was running late, I thought I'm just going to go and mix one. So what I've got tonight is an Americano, which is basically just it's aperitivo, which is a sort of Italian bitters, kind of orange bitters, which is actually very nice on its own, or with soda water, and some red vermouth over ice, and that's it. Very simple. It's not too pokey. It's good. Hello, Scott. How you doing? Yeah. So I've been out to go and get a new car today, as one of my cars we didn't get too long ago properly packed in, but I've been playing a kind of game of Bangonomics recently, and I sort of thought, sod it, I'm going to go and get myself a proper car. So I went and got a hybrid that's only a couple of years old. So it's quite nice to have a car that isn't a massive piece of crap. So I sort of spent a significant portion of the day farting around with the dealership, which was supposed to be ready to give us the car, and in Exeter, turned up, got there, and they thought I was the delivery driver. I turned up, came in, spoke to somebody, and they said, "Oh, great!" They literally just handed me a set of keys and showed me the car. I was there outside going, "Wow, that was really, really easy. I was expecting this to be much more complicated." And then the guy came out as I was just about getting in and sort of turning it on and getting ready to go, saying, "Oh, hang on, who are you?" And so I said, "Well, I bought this car. I've come to collect it." It was like, "I'm so sorry, we thought you were the delivery driver." Then I'd sort of turned up. I'd taken the train out there, and I got a taxi there, and I sort of turned up, probably looking a little bit scruffy, wear a sort of rucksack on my shoulders and all that kind of stuff, and they assumed that I was some kind of courier driver. It was absolutely hilarious. So they sort of got all very embarrassed, and you know, the only thing I asked for was a cup of tea and a comfortable seat. So I sort of played the old man card. I didn't have my 007 outfit. I don't think 007 buys Kia hybrids, Scott. I don't think James Bond is considering sort of miles per gallon and the price of petrol in his day-to-day operations. I suspect that that is not a significant calculation in the Bond mentality. However, in the Tom Stanhope, I'm doing 100 miles of driving every bloody day, taking Astrid to school and back. But you know that it's become, in the last few weeks, it has become a significantly more pressing need. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go hybrid. So yeah, I've kind of entered the realms of hello, Chris. Yeah, yes. So Chris is my neighbour a few doors down, and he is an excellent car valeting business, and I will be looking to maintain its new car. Well, it's new to me, but it's significantly newer than the last pieces of ancient engineering that I've been driving have been. So yeah, it was kind of a funny mindset shift actually, because I was like, I've always been like kind of well, it's 25 miles, but I'm driving there and back twice a day, Scott. It's insane. My driving days is crazy. It's bonkers. So we are trying to move to Totnes or yes, Chris, you'll hold you to that. Yeah. I have an ambition, Chris. Whether that actually becomes reality, at the moment, it's very nice. I do. Listen, I've been listening to all sorts of stuff, both improving and not so improving. Some absolute toot that I've been listening to, and some thoroughly entertaining, stuff, but also some kind of. I've just started listening to a book called Hyperfocus, which is actually very good. It's a book basically about how you can harness your sort of abilities of focus, which, as somebody with ADHD, has always been one of those things that I know when I'm in that focus zone, because kind of the hours disappear. But I wanted to know a little bit more about the science behind focus and kind of some of the sort of psychology, the sort of neurology rather. Yeah, well, my daily commute is unsustainable, Chris. So we're trying to find a house in Totnes, but even that's proving difficult. Having kids and a dog, because we're not quite ready to buy yet. When I say not quite ready to buy yet, we're kind of we haven't got our big deposit together yet. So we're sort of we're not quite there yet. But end of this year we'll be buying. Hello, Facebook user. Who's that? Let's see who that is. Ooh, where are you commenting? Who's that? Who is this? Oh, it's Bev. Hello, Bev. How are you doing? Evening. Yeah, I stopped listening to self-development books during lockdown. Science sort of. Yeah. So the other book that's on my list is A History of the Ottoman Empire, which I'm thoroughly enjoying, but also enjoying some. I've just finished listening to the last book of the Expanse series, which was excellent. Even if you're not a sci-fi fan, actually, it was brilliant. It was a good listen from start to finish. So yeah, I don't often delve into the self-development stuff, but when I do, I try and make it count. Podcasts, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I like the Bugle, Andy Zaltzman, a bit of topical, satirical comedy. Autobiography and Gargoyles. Is that really about gargoyles, or is that a typo? I want to know, Scott. Are you now? Blimey. So that's really interesting, Scott. The Wheel of Time. I have a long and complicated relationship with the Wheel of Time. So I read the first Wheel of Time book when it came out in 1990, and so I read the first one then, and objectively, I think they're quite terrible, but I have such a strong kind of personal affection for them that I can forgive almost every single. It's as a piece of storytelling, it's monumental. The Wheel of Time books are great on a certain level, but there's some stuff in there that is quite rough to be generous. But and there are some books. This is a writer. Robert Jordan was a writer who significantly lost his way in the middle of this series. It's like 14 or 15 books long. He lost his way, and some of the books are just they're like wading through treacle. I think book 12 and 13 are just there. There are you could condense them down into a few moments, but yeah, they're not. It's not high art, but there are some. He is a man who can write action incredibly well, and the world that is kind of the world building and the creation is just wonderful. So I have it's one of these complicated things where objectively a lot of it's quite rubbish, but yeah, absolutely. But then Brandon Sanderson takes out, because he very tragically, Robert Jordan died before the last few books were completed, which, if I'm brutally honest, was probably the best thing that happened to the series, because and there'll be a lot of people who'll burn me at the stake for saying that. I know you never wish somebody ill, but the series was kind of, my God, it was hard going. And Brandon Sanderson, who is actually a great writer, I really enjoy Brandon Sanderson's stuff. Stepped in and completed the last 3 books, and actually did an incredibly good job with some really incisive kind of decision making around. When you have a stable of characters which are, I think it was 2,500 characters. That's you've got a lot of work to do. Yeah, so the TV shows, I really like the TV show. They've taken some of the more interesting concepts and kind of run with them, so it's quite different from the books in certain ways, but actually broadly very faithful. So we've currently not talked about anything to do with video, really. That's fine. But yeah, the Wheel of Time, I recommend it to loads of people, but it's sort of but always with the caveat that you're not in it for the quality of the writing necessarily. There are some great moments and some actually rather touching and lovely moments all the way through it, but he's kind of he's a great storyteller, if not a great writer, if that makes sense. So what's all this got to do with video? Precisely sod all is the answer to that. But so like I said at the start of this ramble, I was late to this. I wasn't going to come in and do anything in particular. I thought, I'm not sure I can face doing content of cocktails today. But actually, once I got in, I thought, you know what? Actually, doing this isn't going to be hard because I know precisely what I've got to do. I've just got to turn up and I've got to mix myself a drink and talk about cocktail. Talk about video. And I've done this getting on for 120 times now, which is incredible. I find that amazing. And I have built a very, very strong habit here. The Thursday evening habit of coming up and sitting and having a chat. And already, you'll see already we've ranged far and wide. We've talked about everything but video at the moment. But one of the things that people kind of now that's great news. I'm really good. I've had some nice news from my lockdown video session. Not for now, Tom, but I'm a very happy little hobbit having a Guinness. Yeah, we've had quite a lot of discussion about St. Patrick's Day. We've discussed the whole process of distillation over the dinner table, where we had the very, very Irish supper of a red Thai curry that I've made. But obviously, kind of Una's side of the family, Una Devlin, is kind of from an Irish family. So my very, very English heritage is kind of in dire need of some internationalisation. Yeah, have you been at the races today, Scott? Although I don't think that's probably your cup of tea. Is that your cup of tea? I don't know. I've never been to Cheltenham races. Worcester and kind of Hereford were our kind of locals. Scott says an emphatic no. I didn't think you were. Not in the steward's enclosure then, Scott. Eyeing up the form. Bit of a flutter. I didn't think it was your cup of tea. Yeah, so I really kind of Scott, dear boy. You've got to have some standards, haven't you, Scott? Yeah, so how did I sort of flip the switch tonight to go from not wanting to turn up to turning up? And I think one is because I really enjoy it. I've built something I really enjoy doing. This is not a hardship. Sitting down, having a chat about video stuff and some other bits and pieces with a drink, it's not difficult. It's really easy. so that's one way I make it kind of make this repeatable and make it so that doing it on the hard days doesn't feel hard. Is you make the kind of the process easy and enjoyable. And I think for me, more than anything else, that's been a really big part of it. Is that it's it isn't a hardship. Two, I kind of know exactly what I'm going to be doing. Even when I'm not prepared, I can step into this process and I know how it rolls out. I mean, I've skipped a step today in as much as I haven't made my cocktail. I made my cocktail beforehand. And that has been, that's a cheat. I'm aware that's a cheat, but I was running late. I thought, well, I'd rather just get on with it. So it's kind of enjoyment. So joy is an important part of this. Do I like the process of creating content? Yes, I do. I like the process of creating live content for lots of reasons, but one of them is it is very, very easy once you've got the setup right. All I have to do is come in, turn my computer on, flip my lights on, turn the camera on, mic's good to go, and I'm off. There's no hassle, no kind of tricky prep. It's all good. Oh, Scott, before I forget, here's a recommendation. I know, a TV recommendation for you. Give Severance a go if you haven't already. It's on Apple TV. I think you'll like that a great deal. It is a wonderfully weird bit of TV with kind of a pleasingly, it's kind of HR sci-fi. Yeah, HR sci-fi. So if I don't really know how best to explain it, but it's brilliant. It's really, really good. I think I was watching it. We were watching it at home, and I was thinking, I bet Scott would like this. So yeah, I think you'll enjoy it. It's very good. Shit, you just lost me. Yeah. And honestly, I joke when I say it's HR sci-fi, but it's kind of a workplace dystopian science fiction kind of thriller mystery. I don't really know how to describe it. It's bonkers, but great, really good. Anyway, that's by the by. So my squirrely brain is on full form today, and that is another reason why I was kind of possibly wavering about doing my live this evening. But because I've built this process, because I've built something that I like doing, that I can step into, I've made it easy for myself. I've made it easy for when Lazy Tom is out to play, which he was today. It was very easy for me to go, sod it. I'm just gonna do it. Came in, had some food. Was thinking, oh, I'm not gonna do it. I can't be bothered to do it. And I did it. I got over that and I did it because it was easy. So my sort of tip this evening with content creation, certainly being regular with live video, make it easy on yourself. Give yourself a format. Because what I've got here with this, I mean, tonight it's being observed very, very loosely. Very loosely. There's not much format tonight. But I'm still broadly observing the form. And we know that having forms, ways of doing things, formats works well. It works for TV, it works for religion. So why is it not going to work for, for content creation? And it does. That's really important, Scott. And I think actually this is so Scott's got a great show called Artifact Live. And you do indeed have some amazing guests. But I think actually taking time off to recharge your batteries and to kind of get those, get the thinking part done. I think that's really important. I think that's a smart move. But I kind of, as I say, today's been a busy old day, and I was kind of got to the end of it and thought, oh, I can't be bothered. But I ended up doing it. I ended up showing up. Whether this is a classic edition of Content to Cocktails, I will not personally judge, but if I was to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, I would say this is a solid 4.8. We're not talking absolutely awful, but I'm underprepared. But I want to connect you with an idea, and that idea is make it simple. And if you come away with nothing else other than keeping it simple and making something which is repeatable. Lucy Johnson says, thanks Tom, I've been doing my Instagram lives every week since I did your challenge at the end of last year. It was fab. That, you know what, that has filled my heart with joy. Now that is Lucy, you have kind of put a spring in my step, because that is what I love to hear. So, Mike Boss, it's Big Boss Man. He's here. Hello, sir. You're fashionably late. I have been a whole hour late tonight. But Lucy, back to you. So. I really want to get into this, Lucy. So what keeps you going every week on your Instagram lives? Is it the results? Is it the enjoy? What I'd love to hear more about what you've got from the process. But yeah, thank you. It's really lovely. And I'm so pleased you've taken action, because that's the joy of the challenge. And we will be running this challenge. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but we will be running this challenge again end of May. So, yeah, I will be going into sort of drum beating mode about that in over the course of April. April and May we got the ramp up into it. It's very exciting. God, I've completely lost my thread. Yeah, like I say, tonight is not the world's finest edition of Content to Cocktails. It is a day where I have been running around like a headless chicken. picking up a new car, and although I did have a very, very nice lunch with Andy Jacobs. So Andy Jacobs came on as a Video Academy course member last year, and we're sort of coming up to the end of Video Academy. It's been a long road that he's been on, but Andy has really come on leaps and bounds as a content creator, along with everybody else on the course. But Andy has been down in doing some fly fishing on Dartmoor, and we worked out that we were going to be in roughly the same place today. And even though I had a lot of farting around with picking up the car today, we were able to go in and meet up in Ashburton and have a bite to eat and just spend some time chatting. Actually, it was great, but it was so nice to meet somebody in real life who I've only ever seen on a little kind of Zoom screen. That was great, really, really enjoyable. So Lucy, in answer to the question asked about what she's getting from it, the more I do, the more engagement I've got, more questions, more people joining, but I stick with it because I know it takes time and I've built the habit into my working week. Music to my ears, Lucy. That is fantastic. I would love to hear your thoughts about the challenge, which seems so very long ago. I think we did it in, was it September? Was it August or no? It was September, wasn't it? It was mid-September. God, it feels like a million years ago, doesn't it? Yeah. So I'd be very interested to hear what your take on it was. What you felt you enjoyed about it. What you would like to have seen more of or less of. Or, obviously, please don't say me when it comes to say see less of Tom, please, because that won't work. That won't fly for me. Yeah, be very interested to hear what you have to say about that. But reading this comment, I love it. Really great. Thank you. And it's so nice to see people taking the action, because whether people come on and do the course or just after the challenge, all I ever want to see is people growing their business with video. I know that sounds like a cheesy line, but it is 100% true. I take a huge amount of pleasure from seeing people grow their businesses, because I know what a difference it can make. Because, I was on, if you know Lisa Johnson, I was on a podcast. I was doing an episode of her podcast this week which was a sort of a conversation between myself and Danny, as a special episode where we were talking about our journey really, with Lisa, as part of the kind of, as a marketing exercise, but still it was a very frank and honest conversation about the journey that we've both been on. Danny's kind of has built an incredible business over the last 2 years, and I'm sort of, I've been lucky enough to take myself from being, frankly, in a pretty dire place with my business. I mean, I call it a business, but 3 years ago it was really, really not very much at all. But now, it makes money. I make a good, really good living out of it, which is incredibly satisfying, and I've been able to do all sorts of exciting things, like kind of off to Croatia and LA, and I'm going back out to LA. So I will say that if you are not signed up to Lisa's challenge that's coming up, I would, I've been talking about this, and I am an affiliate for it, but it's the only thing I've ever affiliated for, because I genuinely believe it's worth doing. So I'm not going to bang on about that, because it's something I've talked a fair bit about. But yeah, check it out if you haven't, because it was pretty life-changing for me. But there we go. Scott, I've been posting carousels on LinkedIn. Great engagement. Video still being seriously downgraded. I'm looking at... Yeah. I think that's really interesting, isn't it? Why is LinkedIn doing this with video. It seems so strange after being really, really, really hot on it. They sort of seem to have got quite lukewarm about the idea of video, don't they? It's very weird. It doesn't make any sense at all. Because I put a poll on LinkedIn recently that got thousands of views and interaction. Not a huge amount of interactions, but lots of people saw it. So the reach is obviously much greater, but for the video content, next to nothing. So I think LinkedIn, whilst I am going live, you know, although am I going live on LinkedIn at the moment? Oh, God. Let's save the changes to that. We're going to add. Oh, there we go. We've added LinkedIn. So people are probably going to see me on LinkedIn and go, "Oh, we're halfway through." That's interesting, Scott. I wonder why. I wonder why LinkedIn dislikes video so much. It's kind of because I'd noticed it myself after you mentioned it the other time. I sort of ran a few little tests, and you know, you 100%, you know, as I thought you would be 100% right. It's just weird. Mike Boss, if you're still out there, Mike Boss, are you out there? I know Mike is very active on LinkedIn. I'd be interested to hear his take on it. Because it was so weird, because, you know, 2-3 years ago, video was huge on LinkedIn. You were getting really good engagement, really good reach. But now, like you say, Scott, it's absolute bobbins, isn't it? Sorry, LinkedIn. Oh, what happened there? Slight interruption of service. Apologies. Yeah, so I think there's something going on there. I wouldn't like to. Yeah, as Scott says on LinkedIn, they're pushing polls, carousels, and documents. I think it's very. It does feel very odd, doesn't it? It seems like somebody's kind of. Still here, albeit not. So this is Mike, not showing my username. Currently trialing video nonsense. Long time I text nonsense. But you're really. I mean, Mike. The thing is, you're really consistent. You've got quite. You know, you've got actually quite a nice thing going with your kind of nice mix of funny and serious stuff. So I think, you know, I'm noticing. I think your strategy is a really good one because you've got the kind of stuff for engagement and. I think engagement is down everywhere on LinkedIn. Yeah, it does seem weird. It feels like one of those things you think, well, what's driving that? What's driving that? But you know. So last week I talked about the strategy of my new sort of approach. My strategy. This is more tactical, really. The sort of approach I'm taking with email marketing, and I'm finding that there's quite a lot of good. I'm finding that my email list is getting much more engaged. Some of you are probably seeing the content coming through from me. I'm not doing it every day. I'm sort of warming up to that as I put my systems and processes in. But I'm running a rather interesting campaign that's designed to sort of either re-engage with people who are dormant on my email list or kind of remove them, because I want to have an email list that's actually kind of full of people who actually want to hear. But you know, this will come as no surprise. I want the people I'm talking to with my marketing to actually want to hear from me. Mike's videos are great and should be viral, but they don't. I think this will change. LinkedIn are encouraging creatives behind the scenes with the algorithm. That's really interesting, isn't it? So this idea that the platform is its own worst enemy. So there are lots of creators out there who want their who frankly their content should be getting a lot more traction, but the algorithm, you know, the sort of the systems that spread the content within the platform are kind of just going, no, we don't like it, which is weird. but I imagine unpicking the systems in a beast like that are kind of, I always feel it's kind of like, we're just steering a super tanker territory, aren't we? The kind of the time it takes to kind of fiddle around. I mean, this is an art historian's perspective on coding, but it always feels like on a platform that big, any changes you make are going to take ages to filter down. That is based on zero knowledge, but I feel like it should work like that. It probably doesn't. If there will be people out there who'll be going, what is this dummy talking about? Please, I'm 100% up for being told how it is, and would be very interested to find out how it works. So if anybody is an expert on this subject and would like to teach a content creator about how these things work, then please do pipe up and let us know, because I'm all ears, frankly. Something I'd love to learn about, the way it works. So this is it. So I think the one thing that having, even on a platform like LinkedIn where video isn't performing as well as it should be, consistency will ultimately, I think, win out. But you have to support it. You've got, you can't just view video as its own, as the kind of the silver bullet. It's not the marketing panacea. You've got to be, you've got to be looking at the platforms you're on and making decisions based on performance. So when you look at LinkedIn, and as Scott and Mike are saying, who are kind of LinkedIn enthusiasts, are looking at going, actually, video isn't performing particularly well, but these, polls, documents, carousels, if those are performing well, that's what you put your attention on. You don't go thrashing away at something that isn't gonna deliver the results, because ultimately, this is about best use of time, isn't it? Marketing is an activity that has to generate results in order for it to be fruitful for us as business owners. So, we don't want to be hammering away at something thinking, well, someday this is going to work. If it's not working, stop it for the time being, and unless doing it is kind of no great try. So like with the live content, you can go live simultaneously to lots of different platforms using the right tools, but you if you were just going live to LinkedIn, I think you'd be asking yourself the question, am I reaching enough people? Is this juice worth the squeeze, as they sometimes unpleasantly say? I'm not entirely sure. That's one of those sayings that somebody said to me years ago, and it has really stuck with me. But every time I say it, I find myself thinking, ugh, I don't like that. Karen. Mea maxima culpa, Karen. I'm so sorry. You've missed the whole part of the conversation where I spent my time saying, I'm sorry I wasn't here at 7 o'clock, but I've made a virtue of it, Karen. I've made a virtue of this whole process of being late, and you've missed it. So, you can come and tut at me, but I've done all the tutting to myself. But no, it's very good to see you. Hello. How are you? So tomorrow, very exciting, I am driving up to Stoke-on-Trent to do some filming with the lovely Abigail Horn. We'll just deal with this before we go. Did a video podcast interview the other day. Still terrified. Was that with Gary Jones? Gary. How can you, Mike, as a man who is quite happy to do comedy videos, you shouldn't be terrified. You're so good at it. You're really great at it. Don't be scared. You're very good at it. Thank you, Karen. That means a lot. I I do not seek permission. I seek forgiveness, and you have given me forgiveness. Thank you. Good. I thought it. I seem to remember seeing something about that. I hope so. So, what terrified you about it, Mike? I'd be very interested to know. Uh, yeah, that's true. I know you've always said that, but I keep on saying. Um, I think kind of. I think you have so much to give and have a generous heart and a kind spirit. It shines through. So I want to see more of the real Mike Boss as much as your characters. I want it all. Excellent. Yes. Good. Now, yeah, you're off to. Yeah, absolutely. How very exciting. Yeah. So Karen is one of our. Well, actually, you've double dipped, haven't you? You're a two times virtual video session jumper in. So Karen, we're doing sort of virtual recording session at Silverstone Racetrack. So Karen and her husband are at Silverstone racing cars and doing things that sound lots and lots of fun, which is all very exciting. And I'm going to be on hand to do a bit of virtual assistance, really, a bit of virtual tech support. Oh no! Oh my God! They moved race day from Saturday to Sunday, so we had to do last minute hotel. But oh, what a nightmare! Blimey, that sounds a bit stressful. God. So yeah, I'm off to Stoke-on-Trent tomorrow to go and film with Abby Horn the launch of her. So she's developing she has developed, in fact, a family biography book writing process. So Abby is my publisher. I had a lovely meeting this week where I got to sit down and talk about cover design, which is very exciting. So Grow Your Business with Video is the imaginative name of the book, but it's got a subtitle, but I'm not going to talk about the subtitle yet because I don't want to give anything away. But yeah, the cover designer, this kind of incredibly talented cover designer, Matthew, is turning his expert eye onto the book. So it's actually co-authored between Una and I. We are jointly writing this book. And it's all very exciting. But yeah, I'm filming with Abby Horn tomorrow evening. So I've got to make the epic trek from Plymouth all the way up to Stoke-on-Trent, which is like 5 hours of driving. But I'm gonna break my journey at the farm and do it that way. So I'm looking forward to that. So I might you keep an eye out. I'll be sending some pictures and some updates from the shoot, which I like to do. So yeah. So look, I'm going to wind this session up here, but the journey that we've been on tonight has been me, first of all, talking about the fact that I was late and saying, actually, I didn't feel like wanting to do this evening, but I did it anyway. And how did I do it anyway? I did it because, one, I've built something I enjoy doing, and I will often move towards things that are pleasurable and away from things that are painful. And this is one of those things. This is an activity I enjoy. I like coming and doing this. And two, I've made it easy. I've formatted it. It's got I can step into this process, and it's not difficult to do. So this really, the reason I'm here tonight on a night when I struggled perhaps with the idea of going live and being here, I did it anyway because it was easy. I got to come and talk to lovely people. We've talked about all sorts of things. We've talked about not just video, but sort of TV shows. And hello, Frankie, how you doing? It's Frank. Oh, you're on LinkedIn. Frankie's coming from LinkedIn today. You are the LinkedIn viewer tonight, Frankie. Hello. Welcome. I'm about to sign off, in fact. So, yeah, but yeah, this is it. I feel like showing up on the days when you don't want to be showing up, because it's been a long day today. Like I said, I've been to pick up this new car and spent a lot of time farting around at the dealership waiting for somebody to pull their finger out and do something that should have been done yesterday. Which, you know, that's another story. But yeah, you get back and you think, oh, I can't quite do this. But the systems were set up, the process was set up, so actually turning up was not that hard. Last comment. Oh, yeah, love a bit of LinkedIn. Love a bit of LinkedIn. Yeah, I'm really. So Frankie's has stepped in and kind of taken me up on one of the virtual recording sessions. So very exciting. Really looking forward to working with everybody actually who's kind of joined me. There's 2 left for April. So this is the crazy thing. It's like 8. There's kind of. I've been sitting. This is a really good example of what can be achieved if you actually kind of make your ideas happen. So I've done these virtual video recording things for quite a few people over the years, and I've been thinking about how, doing sort of 10 of these a month for ages, and I just haven't done anything about it. Not for any good reason. Actually, if I'm honest, probably a little bit of laziness. I was thinking, oh, will anybody want them and all that kind of stuff. But I put a shout out in March when I was flying out to on the retreat, and those went like that. I was like, oh, okay, maybe there's something here. And so I put April out, and April's have almost gone as well. So it's been a really sort of a sharp lesson in having faith in your own abilities and your faith in your own ideas rather, and kind of I felt like it was a good idea, but I was repeatedly talking myself out of doing it because I thought, oh, people won't want it, but actually it turns out people do want it. It's a great way to create content. It's a great way to create content. And I've done it before and I've got results for people and people like it. And I was like, and I look back and go, why was I not doing this? Weird, isn't it? We can find lots of reasons to talk ourselves out of really good ideas, and so I've sort of at least decided. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Karen. Good to see you too. I will have I might have one more of those, but off camera. But I'm going to go and watch an episode of Severance. But good night. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming and supporting me tonight. And I hope that wasn't such a crazy ramble. But yeah, good night, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.